Hello guys, welcome to Cup of Teach. This time I'm going to discuss variance and standard deviation of a discrete probability distribution. Before we discuss the variance, let us review first yung mean of discrete probability distribution kasi kailangan natin to get the variance or to compute the variance. So we have here the formula for the mean. This is the symbol that we use for the mean, or EX for the expected value. Same lang silang dalawa. So, kahit alin sa kanilang dalawa ay pwede natin gamitin. So, depende sa tanong. Kung ang tanong ay mean, so we're going to use this one. Pero kung ang tanong ay expected value, so we're going to use this symbol. Then, we're in this symbol, summation, sum of terms. Capital letter X, discrete random variable. Small letter x is the outcome or value of random variable. Px is probability of the outcome x. So this time, we're going to discuss now the variance and standard deviation of probability distribution. So variance is a measure of spread for the distribution of a random variable that determines the degree of which the values of a random variable differ from the mean or expected value. So this is the formula for the variance. This is the symbol, or we can use this one. So, pareho lang sila, kahit alin sa kanilang dalawa ay pwede natin gamitin. We're in this symbol, population mean. So, we're going to read this as mu. And this one is summation, sum of terms. Small letter x, outcome or value of random variable. Px, that is probability of the outcome x. And for the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. And this is the formula for the standard deviation. And we have here the alternative formula for the variance and standard deviation of probability distribution. So, ito ay mas maikli kaysa sa nauna na binigay nating formula. And this is the formula for the variance. And for the standard deviation, this one, wherein this symbol is the population mean. So, we read this as mu. And this symbol, summation, sum of terms. Small letter x, outcome or value of random variable. And px is the probability of the outcome x. So, let us apply now the formula for the variance and standard deviation. Given dito ang table and outcomes, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then, sa probability of outcome x, we have here 0.12, 0.25, 0.18, 0.35, and 0.10. Then, yung next table natin ay product ng dalawa. So, let us multiply yung outcome and probability of outcome x. So, itong dalawa, let us multiply 0.12 times 0, or 0 times 0.12 is 0. 1 times 0.25 is 0.25. 2 times 0.18 is 0.36. 3 times 0.35 is 1.05. Then 4 times 0.10 is 0.40. Then after that, we're going to get the sum of this. Ito na yung summation. And that is equal to 2.06. So, since meron na tayo ditong summation ng outcome times the probability of outcome x, therefore, meron na rin tayong mean. Kasi kung ano yung value nito, value na rin ang mean. So, we will have now, mean is equal to 2.06. Next table natin, yung x minus natin sa mean. So, yung x natin, yung outcome natin. So, ito yon. Yung 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Subtract natin siya dito sa mean natin. So, we will have now negative 2.06, negative 1.06, 0.06, 0.94, and 1.94. Then, next table natin ay, so yung difference dito, i-squared lang natin siya. So, we have here 4.2436, 1.1236, 0.0036, 0.8836, 3.7636. Then, yung last na table natin ay yung sagot dito, multiply natin dito sa probability of outcome X. So, let us multiply this. 0.12 times 4.2436 is 0.5092. Then 0.25 times 1.1236 is 0.2809. 0.18 times 0.0036 is 0.0006. Then 0.35 times 0.8836 is 0.3093. Then 0.10 times 3.7636 is 0.3764. So, we're going to get the sum of these para makuha natin ang summation. And that is equal to 1.4764. So, solve na natin yung variance. So, since meron na tayo ditong summation, and that is 1.4764, so, substitute lang natin dito. So, variance is equal to 1.48. Kasi, 2 decimal places lang kunin natin dito. So, since ito ay 47.6, so 6 ang kasunod ng 7, so round up na lang tayo dito sa 7, so magiging 8 na siya. That is why we have here variance is equal to 1.48. Then, let's go to standard deviation. So, kunin lang natin ang square root ng variance natin. So, we have here the square root of 1.48. And standard deviation now is 1.22. So, this time, we're going to use the alternative formula. Same pa rin ang table natin. Outcomes natin ay 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then, probability of outcome X, we have here 0.12, 0.25, 0.18, 0.35, and 0.10. Then, next table natin ay yung product nilang dalawa. Product ng outcomes and probability of outcome X. So, itong dalawa. Let us multiply. 0 times 0.12 is 0. 1 times 0.25 is 0.25. Then, 2 times 0.18 is 0.36. 3 times 0.35 is 1.05. And 4 times 0.10 is 0.40. Then after that, we're going to get the sum of this. So this is now the summation of outcome times the probability of outcome X is equal to 2.06. So since meron na tayo ditong summation, at ito ang kailangan natin sa mean. Kasi ang mean natin is equal to summation of outcome times the probability of outcome X. So ito siya. So therefore, mean is equal to 2.06. Next table ay squared ng X o yung outcomes natin times yung probability of X. So, itong dalawa. Pero, bago mo i-multiply, dapat ay i-squared muna natin yung outcomes. So, let's have here 0. Squared is 0. Times 0.12, that is equal to 0. Next is 1 squared. 1 squared is 1 times 1 equals 1. Times natin yan sa 0.25. So, we will have now 0.25. Next is 2. 2 squared. 2 squared is 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. And 4 times 0.18 is equal to 0.72. 3 squared. So, that is 3 times 3, and that is equal to 9. And 9 times 0.35 is 3.15. Then the last one is 4 squared. 4 squared is 4 times 4, and that is equal to 16. Times natin yan sa 0.10, and that is equal to 1.6. And after that, we're going to get the sum of this. So this is now the summation. And that is equal to 5.72. So pwede na tayong mag-solve ng variance. Substitution lang tayo. So, we have here the value for the summation. And we have here the mean. So, variance is equal to 5.72 minus 2.06 squared. So, squared muna natin itong mean natin bago tayo mag-subtract. So, variance is equal to 5.72 minus 4.2436. Then, this time, pwede na tayong mag-subtract. Variance is equal to 1.48. Let's go to the standard deviation. So, standard deviation, so, square root lang siya ng variance natin. So, ang variance natin ay 1.48. So, variance natin ay 1.48. We're going to get the square root of that. So, standard deviation is equal to 1.22. Let's have another example using alternative formula. Given ang table natin, outcomes are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Probability of outcome X, we have here 0.16, 0.26, 0.15, 0.25, and 0.18. Next table natin ay kunin natin ang product ng dalawa. So, outcome times the probability of outcome X. Let us multiply the two. 0 times 0.16 is 0. 1 times 0.26 is 0.26. 2 times 0.15 is 0.3. 3 times 0.25 is 0.75. And the last one, 0.18 times 4 or 4 times 0.18 is 0.72. Then, after that, we're going to get the sum para sa summation natin. And that is equal to 2.03. So, since meron na tayong value dito ng summation ng outcomes times the probability of outcome X, so kung anong value nito, yun din ang mean natin. Substitution lang tayo. So, mean is equal to 2.03. Let's go to the third table. So, x squared times the probability of outcome X. So, yung dalawa, multiply natin. Pero bago tayo mag-multiply, dapat naka-squared si X. So, we will have now 0 squared is 0 times 0.16 is equal to 0. Next is 1 squared. 1 squared is 1 times 1 and that is equal to 1 times 0.26 is equal to 0.26. Next is 2 squared. 2 squared is 2 times 2 that is equal to 4 times 0.15 equals 0.6. 3 squared. 3 squared is 3 times 3 and that is equal to 9. 9 times 0.25 is equal to 2.25. 4 squared is 4 times 4 equals 16. Multiply to 0.18 and that is equal to 2.88. Then after that, we're going to get the sum of this para sa ating summation. So we will have now 5.99. So let us solve for the variance. Substitution lang tayo sa variance natin. So we have here the summation, 5.99. And then yung mean natin ay 2.03. Yung mean natin ay squared natin yan. Huwag nyo kakalimutan. So, we will have now variance is equal to 5.99 minus 4.1209 yung squared ng 2.03. Then, subtract natin yung dalawa. Variance is equal to 1.87. Let's go now to the standard deviation. So, standard deviation is equal to the square root ng variance natin. So, ang variance natin ay 1.87. So, variance is equal to the square root of 1.87 and the square root of 1.87 is 1.37. So, this is now our standard deviation. So, again, we're going to use the alternative formula. So, sa case natin na to, ang probability of outcome X natin ay fraction naman. So, yung third column natin, multiply ulit natin ang outcome and the probability of outcome X. So, itong dalawa. So, let's have now 0 times 1 over 10 is 0. 1 times 2 over 10 is 2 over 10. 2 times 3 over 10 is 6 over 10. 3 times 2 over 10 is 6 over 10. 4 times 2 over 10 is 8 over 10. Then, we're going to get the sum of this. So, summation of outcome times the probability of outcome x is equal to 22 over 10, and that is equal to 2.2. So, since meron na tayo ditong summation, therefore, makukuha na rin natin ang mean kasi ang mean natin ay summation ng outcome times the probability of outcome x. And that is equal to 2.2. So, let's go now to the last column. X squared times the probability of outcome x. So, itong dalawa na to, imumultiply natin. Pero this time, i-squared muna natin yung outcomes natin. Lahat after natin i-multiply dito sa probability of outcome x. So, let's have now 0. 0 squared is equal to 0. Times natin yan sa 1 over 10. And that is equal to 0. 1 squared, that is equal to 1. Then, multiply natin yan sa 2 over 10. So, the answer is 2 over 10. Then, 2 squared is equal to 4. Multiply natin sa 3 over 10. And that is equal to 12 over 10. Next is 3 squared equals 9. Multiply sa 2 over 10. So, that is equal to 18 over 10. And then, the last one, 4 squared is equal to 16. Multiply natin sa 2 over 10. And that is equal to 32 over 10. Then, get the sum. So, we will have now the summation. And that is equal to 60 over 10. And 60 over 10 ay 6.4. So, let us solve now for the variance. So, variance is equal to, so, substitution lang tayo. So, since we have here the summation of x squared and probability of outcome x, that is 6.4. And then we have here the mean, which is 2.2. So, i-squared lang natin yung mean. So, we will have now 6.4 minus 2.2 squared. Then, 2.2 squared is 4.84. Subtract na natin yung dalawa. Therefore, ang variance natin ay 1.56. So, let's go now to standard deviation. So, standard deviation natin ay square root lang ng ating variance. So, we will have now the square root of 1.56. And the square root of 1.56 is equal to 1.25. So, this is now the standard deviation.
Thank you for watching. That's it for this video. If you learned something here, don't forget to like and subscribe to Cup of Teach. See you on the next lesson. Bye!